On this week's episode, we talk about another record quarter of deliveries, good news for owners with no radar equipped on their vehicles, some minor FUD busting around the new Model S yoke, and some bigger FUD busting around autonomy regulation. This is Tesla Tidbits episode number 659 for the week of July 4th, 2021. First off, to those in the US, I hope you had a safe and happy Independence Day. And to those of our friends up north, I hope you guys also had a great Canada Day. Now we kick things off as just prior to production time, Tesla announced its second quarter production and delivery numbers, and again, it's a new quarterly record for the company. Tesla manufactured 206,421 vehicles, 2,340 of which were refreshed Model S or Model X, and then delivered 201,250 vehicles, of which 1,890 were refreshed Model S or Model X. The new record breaks last quarter's new record and represents a roughly 9% quarter-over-quarter improvement, and a staggering 122% year-over-year improvement. Now that the Model S and Model X lines are back online, I would expect yet another record coming next quarter too. The only question right now is whether Tesla was able to be profitable in quarter two. Due in part to depreciation from its Bitcoin holdings, there is significant doubt as to whether they'll be in the black due to that loss. We'll see what we get from them soon, likely in about a month. Stick with me and I'll have the earnings call report for you with all the details and interesting audio from the call. On the heels of those delivery numbers, and the frankly somewhat surprising number of new Model S and Model X vehicles that were delivered with short time remaining in the quarter, Sawyer Merritt reports that Tesla is wasting no time trying to get former Plaid Plus reservation holders into a standard Plaid vehicle. Sawyer tweeted, quote, "No surprise here, but I've heard from multiple sources that Tesla is calling Bay Area Plaid Plus reservations holders and offering them priority delivery of Plaid S for the end of quarter push. Deliveries are mostly being focused in California to not waste time shipping," end quote. While we're beyond end of quarter at this point, I suspect they're certainly going to continue to prioritize former Plaid Plus reservation holders. These are the folks that were getting ready to drop $150,000 US on the company's most expensive and most high margin vehicle, so trying to keep them on the order book I would believe is a high priority. So if you're in that boat and wanting to nab your car, I'd certainly get a hold of a sales rep, because I'm pretty sure they're going to want to put you into a vehicle as soon as possible. Tidbit number 3 this week is a little primer on the yoke steering for the 1,890 folks that just became owners last quarter. Tesla owner Silicon Valley posted a quick video showing how the most common complaint of hand-over-hand steering is alleviated with one little adjustment. While this is much better seen than heard, the quick answer is that the offhand, the one that would be the one you'd likely put on top of the wheel, basically should start on the bottom side of the yoke. After the pulling hand, the one going down, is out of wheel, that opposite hand we just discussed is already in position to be pushing the yoke down on the side that the pulling hand just came from. At this point, you simply keep catching the yoke at the top as its side presents itself at the top of the steering arc. Because of the steering radius of the vehicle, you really only need to probably make this move once in the event of a super sharp turn. As I said, a lot better seen than heard, so check out the video linked in the show description if my words are failing you. Tidbit number 4 this week comes from Yan Chang, who is at SciFoxCat on Twitter. If you're unaware, there was a small hubbub in China recently where the Chinese government asked Tesla to modify traffic-aware cruise control to ensure that owners had a better indication that the feature had been enabled. This got blown way out of proportion by mainstream media, calling it a recall. Despite the sensationalizing of the situation with the recall terminology, Tesla simply pushed an OTA update and solved the issue, as detailed in this video provided by Yan. The bottom line, a single chime was added when traffic-aware cruise control is activated. We're all aware of Autopilot's double chime, and navigate on Autopilot's triple chime. TAC simply just gets a single chime now. And that's it. Check the video in the link description, which has English subtitles for those of us that can't speak the language. Tidbit number 5 comes from Drive Tesla Canada and builds on a previous story that we found out where pure vision vehicles without radar were missing or had unexpected limits on some features. Per their article, version 2021.4.18.10 updates the following. First up, Autopilot's speed limit pops up to 80 miles per hour or 128 kilometers per hour. While it's still not the standard speed everyone else has, it's an improvement, and apparently Tesla feels confident enough to already be giving it more. That was a restriction improvement. Next are two features that were totally gone. Smart summon and emergency lane departure avoidance have been restored in this update. A major complaint on these vehicles was that auto high beams had to be enabled in order for autopilot to be activated. This is now no longer a requirement. Hallelujah. While I'd be totally for this requirement if they worked flawlessly, they don't. Really, on any car I've ever driven, you nearly always blind someone for at least a couple seconds. This is a welcome improvement. That was a nice bunch of improvement there, but we're still not totally back to golden. This is reminiscent of when Hardware 2 for autopilot first came out, though Tesla is much more on top of restoring these features this time around. Tidbit number 6 comes from our good friend Tesla and the Gong, just letting us know that the right-hand drive Model Y is now available in the Hong Kong version of Tesla's store. To my knowledge, and let me know if I'm wrong here, this is the first official release of a right-hand drive Model Y. If you're one of my Aussie listeners, and I know there's a few of you out there, check out the video as he goes through all the specs of the car, including pricing conversions to Australian dollars from Hong Kong. Lastly, I've got a somewhat unusual edition of Fudbusters. Normally I've got a specific incident of something that's happened that needs debunking, but this one is a weird one sparked by a Dana Hall article talking about ongoing investigations into autonomy-related crashes. She posits the question of what regulators should do about this, to which I'm responding, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Her article states 30 investigations, only 27 of which actually had autopilot enabled. I did some quick research to find that Tesla sold about 742,000 vehicles since 2015, which is the first full year that the vehicles all had autopilot hardware equipped. So with only 27 investigations on those vehicles, that leaves us with autopilot only being enabled in about 0.003% of accidents involving a Tesla. By contrast, I would nearly guarantee that multiple orders of magnitude of human-piloted Teslas were involved in accidents in the same time frame. It's this bit that people still aren't understanding. To me, it's asinine to even question whether regulation is required when the accident rate is 0.003%. It's minuscule compared to standard accidents. I understand that people have seen these accidents in which people have died. And make no mistake, any loss of life is tragic. But why is the fact that so few accidents happen with autopilot compared to no autopilot seemingly lost? The problem here is the very human reaction to want to do something because of the loss of life that was seen in some of these investigations related to a new technology. Detractors here are very much making perfect the enemy of good, or even the enemy of outstanding with their myopic view of this autonomous technology. From my perspective, any restriction of autonomy or attempt to stifle it, to me, is coming at the cost of more human life. That'll do it for this week's show. Thanks to all my patrons supporting the show at patreon.com/Tesla Tidbits. And as always, I have a special shout out to all the super patrons supporting the show at the $10 plus level. They're Ryan Scarborough, Lee Sweet, Dorian Steve Guberman, Ralph and Cheryl Waterhouse, Todd Sullivan, Zortec LED Canada, Raymond and Deborah Malkowitz, Ricky Johnston, Nathan Garza, Ed Patterman, Sunil Joseph, and Brad Lettner. If you have feedback for me, the best way to be heard is to tweet at Tesla Tidbits and use the hashtag AskTeslaTidbits if you'd like your question to be considered for the show. Until next week, keep it charged and hit the road.